Happy Father's Day to everyone out there. Yep. Yes, happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to everyone out there. Hi guys, how are you guys doing? To all the gentlemen out there, I wish you all happy Father's Day. I'm excited about today's interview because I'll be interviewing Brown Kabiti, because I live with him and I know he's a good father, and I thought maybe one or two things people can learn from him. So he's going to be my guest today. Hello, Dammy. In your Migidi, how you doing? Hi, everybody. Jay. That's Hola Remy. Patience Love. Hello, everybody. Brown hasn't signed in yet. I don't know what's happening. I told him to sign in at 4 p.m. So we're waiting for him. Hi guys, Obianuju, there you are. Hi Obianuju, Patience. Taiwo Yeniro, hi. Listen, where is Brown? I have people here already. Ebankwe Brown, Daramola, how you doing? Hi everybody. Okay, let me see. Somebody has sent in a request. Abula, Egbomi Atata, how you doing? How is everything? How are you all doing? Hi guys, happy Father's Day to you. Let me see if Brown is somewhere here. I agree. You know how men can be like this. There he is. Hey Brown. Hello. It's not saying it's connecting though. I can't find Brown. Oh. Let me take it again. Okay, it's waiting for Brown. Okay. That's the problem. You can just chicken out now and say hey, Brown Kabiti. How you do? Why you laughing?
You know why I'm laughing?
Why?
You said all this up on Oshimo. Why would I do that?
I'm just making sure.
I'm giving my commitment.
Okay, let's get right into it because there's a lot to cover today, So tell us a bit about your childhood, growing up in Ile-Ife with your father. Tell me a bit about a few things you learned from your dad. I'd like to hear some of those.
Okay. Almost everything I know today.
Right.
Almost everything I learned from my dad.
Okay.
Now, my dad was very close to us. He was involved in every aspect of our lives. And my father had a very rich background, a background of culture, a background of discipline, a background of respect, a background of integrity, honor. All the qualities you can think of in a man. Ikere-Ekiti, where he grew up, taught him. He was from a very honorable family. The Ojomo family of Ikere-Ekiti, of Odoja, Ikere-Ekiti, was from there, very honorable. And they took time to train him properly. Okay. So by the time he came,
learned from him?
From him, first of all, a lot of people around anyway, so you can verify, knew my dad. Because my dad was working at the Obafemi Awolowo University, where we were born, where we were raised. So we have a lot of friends, a lot of common friends who can actually attest to the kind of man he was. He was a very hardworking, very committed man. In fact, one of the tributes during his funeral, written by the former Vice Chancellor of the Obafemi Awolowo University, Professor Rojama Konjola, he said he was as straight as an arrow. He was compared, his straightness, his integrity was compared to the straightness of an arrow. He was a man of integrity. He was honest to a fault. He was hardworking. He was committed. He was impartial. He was just in everything he did. He was purely a good man.
Okay, we've heard about your dad now. So could you tell us a few lessons you've learned from him, please?
Okay, all the qualities I said a man of integrity, hardworking, committed, respectful, humble. Those are his qualities. Those are things I learned from him.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so we're talking about Father's Day, right?
Okay.
Is there a change in how we were raised to how we are raising our children today? Do you think there's a huge difference?
Well, for me, I try as much as possible not to change a winning formula.
Okay.
My father had a winning formula. My father has 4 children, and all the 4 children turned out to be responsible men and women. So
Okay.
if his formula worked,
So tell
why
us some of
would
the
I
formula.
want?
You're still giving us broad conversation. What exactly is this? What exactly were you taught? What are the values you learned?
Okay, from day one, they tell you do not lie. 1.
Okay.
2, they tell you do not steal. 3, they tell you work hard, do your homework, listen to your teachers. Those are basic. I will give you an example. I will give you a typical example.
Okay.
You see, when I was in primary 2, you see, I'm trying to describe how I was taught never to steal.
Right.
Okay. Something happened when I was in primary 2. During one of the break times, or after school, I went to meet another friend who was in primary 3. His name is Shino Yetosho. And when I got to his class, Shino told me that, look, Femi, our class teacher stores guns inside these cupboards. I said, what kind of guns? Usually when students bring toy guns to school or any kind of toy, the teachers will seize them and keep them somewhere in the cupboard. And she will wait till the end of the term before giving the toys back to their different owners. Right. So there were a few guns inside the cupboard, and she now told me there were guns there. That let us break this cupboard and let us go away with the guns. We are going to have a lot of fun at home. So we took the guns. He took some, maybe like 2. I took about 2 too. We went at different ways. We were neighbors in the house anyway. So I was playing with my own guns. Then my father spotted the guns and was like, Brown. Femi, Iboloti Ribon, where did you find this toy gun? And I quickly parried it to Shino. That Shino got the gun, Shino gave me the guns. A normal father would probably stop at that maybe his friend gave it to him. And my father was like, okay, Shino gave you the gun. Let us go now to Shino's house to go and confirm whether Shino's mommy bought the guns for him. Okay. So right there and then we went to Shino's house. My father knocked on their house. The mother was so happy to see my dad. Mr. Afolabi, what are you looking for? I came to show you this gun that my son said your son gave him. And the woman was like, oh, I saw a gun too with Shino. I don't know where he got the gun. He said it was Femi that gave him the gun. Are you with me? So both of us, we piled it at each other. Immediately, they now told us that, look, confess what exactly happened. We now narrated everything that happened. My father took me back to the house, returned all the guns. My father took me back to the house. My father almost killed me with flogging. It was a one-off flogging. I almost died that day. The same thing Shino's mother did for him that day. The following day,
thank you.
Now let me land. Let me finish. Now the following day, they took us to the class teacher and they reported us and they took it from there. But now, in hindsight, my father taught me never to steal at that point. The same thing for Shino. And now, if you look at Shino today, Shino is a director in Microsoft. He works in the US. He's that successful. Now, it was the same kind of training that got him there. That accountability, to be honest, and all that. And
I was gonna stop you because I wanted to stay on the spanking part. So your father taught you, and you feel that spanking is what helped you till today.
Even the Bible
that we should be
says
spanking our children at this time.
You see, like I always say, Morayo, different people have different beliefs. They have different things that work for them. For me, the Bible says, spare the rod and spoil the child. My father taught me about spanking. His own father spanked him. His grandfather spanked him. I will spank my children.
Okay, but what has spanking done for us? Brown, I want you to understand something. We agree, all of us were spanked. That's how our parents taught us. But today, therapists or parental experts will tell you, you don't need to spank, because the truth that these children they are smarter these days. You can actually have a conversation with them. So why must we resort to spanking even at this time?
Like I told you, I will not change a winning formula. The
Okay,
formula worked for my dad.
Let's define a winning formula, because I would tell you that with all the spanking, we did not innovate anything in this country. With all the spanking, how many of us are Dangotes? How many of us are Microsoft owners? The point is that we've spanked and almost shriveled the ambition or the prospects of children. But today we are learning that spanking doesn't do anything. What you need to do is get the talents they have and help as a parent to notice it early and begin to help them harness it. So all that spanking, so if you define it as, oh, today's result was based on spanking, I would say, really, that for me, spanking didn't do anything to us.
Now, Morayo, let's be more down to earth now.
Okay.
Now, do you think a child who steals, the child stole something, right, you talk the child out of it. The next time the child steals, what are you going to do? Will you start looking for a psychiatrist, or what are you going to start looking for?
You find the reason why the child stole. There's a reason behind every action.
All right. Now, in my own case, there was no reason. We did not understand the definition of stealing at that time. We didn't know we were stealing. Okay. Are you with me? Right. And now, it was very early in life. I was in primary 2. Shino was in primary 3. Right. Now, because of what I know, what we both know in this modern day, I look back now, how will I have done it differently? Right? Now, what I do differently now, if you are with me on that, right, I start spanking my children very, very early. Now, when you spank very early, I'm talking about like 15, 16 months, the spanking is always light, light spanking. Okay. Now, by the time you start spanking a child from 18 months, 20 months, 24 months. By the time the child is 3 years old, the child will naturally be a responsible boy. Are you with me?
Yeah,
the child will naturally be a responsible boy. Right. The child will behave properly. Everything about the child will be fine. Okay. Now, at that point, their creativity couldn't have been truncated in any way. It couldn't have been affected in any way because they're just babies. Okay. Are you with me?
I hear you.
So I totally believe. And besides, the Bible is always my own reference. Until they cancel that part of the Bible that says, spare the rod and spoil the child, I will always recommend spanking anytime, any day.
But would you spank a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old?
No, I will not. I will tell you one thing. Right now, because of what I know about spanking, the impact of spanking, because let me use my own case, for example. Right. My father didn't start spanking me early on time. He didn't start spanking me early enough, right? By the time he started spanking me, maybe from age 5, 6, it was already getting too late. At a point in time, by the time I became a teenager, I was almost hardened. He had to do it almost the military way before I got corrected. I didn't get corrected until I got to part 1 in the university. That was when I became a proper, sensible person that was a little bit focused. But right now, a 15-month-old, a little spanking. How old is our own Gabriel?
He's 17 months.
Okay, 15 months and 17 months. What's the difference? Okay, let's say 17
So are you spanking Gabriel?
The little tap on the hand, the little don't do this, that is spanking has started. That is what I mean by spanking. A baby, you tap him, don't go there, don't go here, a little spank, he's fine. Gradually, he's aware of what you're trying to tell him. By the time he's 2, he's 3, he's aware of your body language. Even your facial expression, he understands. Okay? Right. Well, that's my own take. That's my family.
So, like today now, a lot of mothers are getting information out there, and we're finding it difficult for fathers to get on board. So we mothers go for all these various conferences, parental lectures, and we get information. We find out about the fact that there are various representational techniques where kids can be auditory, they can be kinesthetic, they can be visual, and we get all this knowledge, and we come back and tell men, okay, listen, you don't need to spank this child because he's the type that is visual. Just need to paint the picture of what you want for him. But a lot of men don't want to get it. They want to just go the military way. That's not how they raised me. Please let me focus on how I was raised. how can parents strike a balance between what mothers are learning and with what fathers know?
Morayo, I'm
here.
happy you are the one interviewing me. It's not a third party.
Okay.
I know you go for all these conferences, you read all these things, and there are times I just hands off and I let you do it in that academic way that you are talking about now. I leave you. Now, maybe Morayo has superior knowledge because she has gone for this conference, because she has gone for that conference. I usually step back. If I'm lying, tell your audience that I am lying.
And
I usually leave you.
It's not all the time that you step back. There's sometimes you can me know.
You see, there are times I won't listen to you when it becomes an integrity issue. You see, we span for different reasons. For me, if you notice me, if you did not lie, if you did not steal, I'm not likely going to spank you. Not that I'm not a terrorist. For breaking a cup or for busting your ball out, I start spanking you. I wouldn't do that. But if you lie or you steal, I will spank you. And now there are times you just come on Morayo and you tell me that, look, Brown, this is what I have read. This is what I saw in this conference. Let us do it this way. What do? I step back. Now, when it comes to teaching children about sexuality and all that, Morayo, what do? I tell you, Morayo, go and talk to your daughters. Go and talk to them. I don't know what to say to them because I know probably I don't have enough exposure or enough knowledge or enough education to teach them certain things. But because you are a little bit more inquisitive, I allow you to do all that. But when a child should be spanked, identify it and don't miss it. Don't miss that opportunity.
Okay. All right, no problem. So let's talk about helping our children choose their career path. I mean, today we're told we should just observe early what our children like to do and then begin to support them. But some fathers have this conventional attitude of, listen, you have to do this. You have to follow this track. You have to be very good in mathematics. You have to be very good in certain things. You know, they don't want their kids to explore the arts world or just be all they can be. What's your view on that? Do you think we should allow our kids to be, or must they follow a certain path?
Now, Morayo, listen and listen carefully. Yeah. The first duty of a father, one, is to love your children. I'm going somewhere. Don't rush me. Don't interrupt me.
I won't rush you.
Now, love your children. After you love your children, pray for your children. And one of the most significant prayers you can pray for your children is, Father, let these children discover their purpose immediately and let them fulfill destiny. It is a prayer. Because when it comes to parenting, you cannot remove the hands of God. Are you with me? Right. So you can't remove the hands of God. So once you have done that, you have laid the most basic, the most critical foundation, which is prayer. Then you now follow the rest. The rest is what I'm going to talk to you about. Okay. Now, at the early stage, primary, secondary school, the people that designed the curriculum, they know what they are doing. Okay. Are you with me? Yeah. They didn't just sit down. They didn't just come up with all sorts. They know what they are doing. It's a product of proper research, right? Now, your job as a parent is to allow your child to go through that curriculum, everything they've been asked to learn at primary and secondary level, because there are certain things that are being built during these years. Okay. You build hard work, you build commitment, you multitask, you are versatile, you are taught versatility. Now, after that secondary school, they are free to do whatever they like. They can decide not to go to school at all. Because for me, based on what I realized today, assuming my father allowed me to go into business from after secondary school, assuming I was introduced into business, probably me and Chief Razak Akonyi-Okoya will have been in the same gang financially today. Okay. Are you with me? Yeah. But I had to go through school. I was not exposed to business. That's why today, these children, our own children, I am already exposing them to my businesses. Everything I do. So immediately I see any sign that they have a tendency to be interested or show some some skill in business or some interest, I quickly honed that skill. But you see what they are teaching them from primary school and secondary school. Now, going back to the story of that man, there was a day you discussed about one man that the son, that the man paid $20,000 and the son only passed music.
Yes.
Are you with me? And people were saying all sorts that the man doesn't want the boy to pursue his passion in music. I was just laughing. At a stage when you are asked to do 14 subjects, right? You focused only on one subject. You left 13 other subjects. And you now passed that one subject, music. And you think you are talented in music. My dear sister, he has deceived himself. Because there are some other people who scored A's in all the 14 subjects, including the music where you got your own A. Are you with me? Are you now going to tell me that
are you blaming the boy?
Of course. He's a useless boy. Oh, sorry. Pardon me for using that kind of word. The boy is irresponsible. There, you have 14 subjects. You focus only on one.
He wasn't interested in those other subjects.
Morayo, now the one that you are interested in that you passed, right? When push comes to shove and you face real competition there, are you extraordinary?
Okay, so
it's
music.
A question.
Okay, so he might not. Okay,
are you extraordinary?
Okay, I get your point.
That particular music that he said he passed. Now, all the people that passed the music in that same class, that passed all the other subjects as well, if they bring them to come and compete with him in the knowledge of music, would you not find some of them?
So let me be sure I get you. So if,
yes,
for example, my child says, I want to be a D'banj, I want to be a Davido, and he wants to focus only on music, you are telling me now that you would rather him do all the other subjects at equal level and not
yes,
on music?
At secondary school level, yes. After secondary school level, because you see, when you focus on 14 subjects, there are certain things that you build beyond out of music, which will eventually be very useful to music.
Okay.
Are you with me? If you do not build those things, you will fail in music. And then, in the case of music, music is raw talent. The bank did not study music in school. Now, if you now want to pursue music as an academic exercise, at the end of the day, they cannot even admit you to study music in the university if you don't pass the other subjects.
Right. Okay, get you.
BSc or whatever music, you must pass English and maths before you can study music.
Okay. Let's talk about, okay. Because of time, we have to make sure I want to get in as many questions as possible. Now, there's a controversial issue that we talked about recently. If your child comes to you and says he or she is gay, how would you take that?
First of all, pardon me. First of all, I rebuke that in the name of Jesus. First of all, Kojekajo rebuke NC. But now, in that kind of situation, right, there is a Yoruba saying that says, Eniba Lomo. When you are talking about nuclear family, I have never seen any reasonable human being that can forsake any member of his family. Whether they are gay, whether they are criminals, whether they are raging lunatics, there is no way you will see your child, regardless of the situation, you will hold that child close. Whether it's gay or not, you will hold your child close. Now, in that kind of situation, God forbid it happens to me. There is nothing you cannot desert your child. The only thing you can do at that point is counseling and prayer. If the Lord answers you, good for you. If the Lord doesn't answer you, then that is your own cross for the rest of your life.
Do you raise your children, your sons, different from your daughters?
No, I don't. They are the same before me. I teach them the same things. Now, the part of raising the girls to be girls, I have left that to you because I don't know how to teach them. Okay. Because my mother did that for my own sisters, and I didn't know what my mother discussed with my own sisters. So I don't have any skill in that area.
Do you have a daily ritual you do with your kids every single day? What's that one thing you do every single day with the kids?
Why, you know now, don't you know?
We are teaching others and we are sharing knowledge. Brown, please speak, I beg.
Okay. My daily ritual is that my children must greet me, good morning, daddy. And in exchange for that greeting, they get a blessing. I bless them. I pray for them. That is the deal we have. The exchange, the trade by barter we do. You greet me, I bless you. That's it. I think that's the daily ritual we have.
You don't want to share that blessing with us. Okay, don't worry, it's a private prayer. Let me not.
No.
Now, a couple of years ago, I said on TV that I would never allow you to bath your girls, and obviously everybody went for me, and it was a crazy conversation. And I'd like you to tell our followers today what went through your mind. How did that entire episode make you feel?
Okay, first of all, I didn't feel anything about myself, one, but I felt for you because you are the one they know. Nobody knows me. I'm a normal citizen. Whatever name you call me, I go, nobody can identify my face. But you were the person concerned. I felt bad for you, one. And secondly, when I saw the outcry, the way people were talking concerning our marriage, concerning you, I did not like it. So immediately I knew, because the Bible says death and life are in the power of the tongue. I didn't like what they were saying about us, about our marriage. So I had to quickly put out words out there, expressing my opinion about you, what I feel about the situation, which quickly raised another host, speaking in our favor, countering the words of the naysayers. And I think eventually you were fine. Everybody was fine. We're all fine. But if you're going to go to the truth of the matter, that has passed. If you're going to discuss the topic, should a father bath his children? Let me tell you my own experience with my own father. My father used to bath all of us until we were about to enter secondary school. 4 of us, yes, he will pack all the 4 of us together, 2 boys, 2 girls, pack us together in the bathtub, and he will wash us, scrub us as if he's washing plates. You know the way women wash plates in the kitchen? That was how he used to wash us. But I haven't had that kind of privilege with our own children, because the truth is, see, even right before I met you, in fact, from my part 1 days in the university, I'm talking about 1994, 5:30 every morning, I'm actually on the road, I'm walking out, I'm jogging or brisk walking or something. So by the time we started having the children, my routine had not changed. So I never for once witnessed the bathing of the children in the morning, because the time of their bath, I'm actually on the road.
Would you bath them if you have an opportunity to? That's just the question right now.
Well, I think I would, if necessary.
Okay, all right, that's what
if necessary, I would.
Okay, let's go to Ekiti men and their shouting. You know, Ekiti men are known for yesterday evening, small conversation that you and I were having turned to a ooh, the whole house was shaking. I said, what is all this wahala now? So in your as an Ekiti man, and how would you advise? Do you think the shouting method would affect the children? I mean, do you think that maybe you should think about shouting?
I won't lie to you, Morayo. I think it's an issue with Ekiti men. I must agree with you. You know the way Fayoshi shouts. In fact, the only person in Ekiti that I don't know if he shouts is maybe Governor Fayemi. The way Fayoshi shouts.
Even the SAN, Falano, when he's talking like this,
all of them. My father was exactly like that. Now, I'm a little bit like that, but because I've mingled with people like you.
Very much like that. Please, not a little bit.
Yes, but because I've mingled with people like you, Lagosians, I think I've toned it down a little. And you know, I take time to tell our children that, look, don't shout like your father. I tell Michael, do not shout like me.
But you can't tell. They do what we do. They don't do
I know, but you see, on this one, I accept my guilt. There is nothing I can do about it. Maybe they should be copying you when it comes to shouting. I don't know. There's nothing I can do about that.
Okay, so somebody has sent a question. I had asked people to send some questions. Somebody has said that today women are asking for 50-50 in the home contribution. Do you agree? This has nothing to do with fatherhood, but do you agree with the 50-50 contribution to the homes?
Now, first of all, categorically, I do not agree.
You don't agree 50-50?
No, I do not agree. And it is a very deep situation. It is a very deep topic. I believe the responsibility of the house should be totally 100% borne by the father. But I know that a lot of men are having issues in making ends meet in this situation. I can understand. But the right thing is that 100%, because like my own father, the examples I have are my dad, all my uncles, Uncle Julius, Uncle Yomi, my grandfather, they took care of all their household 100%.
But are you doing 100%?
Well, the reality on ground now, we are probably doing maybe like 80-20 or 70-30, right?
About 70-30, yes.
About 70-30. And the moment the Lord blesses me more, you are going to surrender
the remaining 30. Okay. No, I think it's probably even 20 because all I do is food and cable. Are you there? Internet is a mess of Brown. Brown, are you there?
Yes, I can hear you. Somebody just called me. I don't know why these people can't just let me have this interview without receiving a call.
Okay. So I was saying that, yeah. So we're doing about 70-30, 80-20-ish kind of.
Yes.
All I'm doing is just food. And
yes. What I am saying is that the moment my revenue increases, even that 20 you are doing, I will take it from you.
Hallelujah.
You don't get it.
Amen.
I will take it from you.
I get it.
Do you get? That's what my father did. That's what all my uncles are doing. That's how it was for my grandfather. Okay. So why would it be different with me?
I'd like you to spend some time on this part. Have you ever been in a situation where you were not able to fulfill your responsibility as a father? Because many men are in that situation where the wives are the ones footing all the bills, paying all the bills, doing everything. And they feel somewhat incapacitated. They feel emasculated. They feel like inadequate at this time. They would like to do more. But have you, as a person, ever been in that situation? And tell us about that story and how you're able to get out of it, if it ever happened.
Yes, I was. I was very much in that situation for some time. Now, at the initial stage of shortly before I got married, I used to be the chief operating officer of Flint Petroleum. Then I lost the job. And I lost investment running into millions in some oil and gas transactions. And not too long, it was around that time that I met you. You met me at the lowest ebb of my life. And I saw a good girl. And I was looking at all the responsibilities I needed to carry as a married man. But I discussed with my dad. My dad checked about you, asked Femi Falana, asked Wole Olanipekun about your father. And he was quite impressed that you are the child of a good man, a man that has sacrificed so much, that it would be good for me to marry such a woman, because the blessings of the masses will come upon his descendants, which includes you and our children. So my father encouraged me that go ahead, I will sort you out. And as at that time, when I lost my job, my father placed me on the salary of about 100,000 every month. He personally was giving me money every month because he knew me. I had always been a responsible man, always been responsible. I was just unfortunate. I lost money. Then we got married. My father was actively involved. You were actively involved. Both of you worked together. But at this time, Morayo, I may have to say this to the public. I was always fasting and praying for God to help me. I didn't want to have anything. I was just always praying. I didn't eat anything. I just continued to pray and pray and pray and pray till another opportunity opened. And my business started suddenly and it started booming. And gradually, all the responsibilities I couldn't take in the early days of the marriage, I started taking them back quickly. Yes, people can be in that situation. But if they have a good wife, an understanding wife, and I was lucky, I had a good wife like you, and my father was very supportive. My family was very supportive. So it was easy for me. So the times I spent, because I just knew what I needed was prayer. I was just confronted. So by the time I got out of it, things started going on well again.
But could you, because we want to help families here, there are men that are going through that right now. So you've asked them to pray, and but aside from prayer, was there anything else you had to do to help you get out of the situation?
I thought out of the box. First of all, I returned back to legal practice. My friend Gabriel Irewele was there for me. He absorbed me into his practice. I hadn't practiced for almost 10 years. I was very rusty. The last time I practiced law was maybe in the days of Wole Olanipekun, when I was in Ilorin in 2000 or 2001. That was the last time I practiced law. So first of all, my friend absorbed me, and I had something doing. My father supported me. Along the line, I started making money little by little. I started into another business. I started some importation stuff, and the business started booming. And I continued, and I got out of the quagmire. Now, what I would say to anybody in that situation, think out of the box. Think out of the box. I thought out of the box. I was pushed to the wall. You know, if you chase a goat to the wall, it will turn back. It will fight you. So I think I was chased to the wall, and I turned back, and God helped me, gave me new ideas, gave me new opportunities. And from there, boom, I went on.
Okay, so let's go back to your role as a father. So do you have favorites amongst your children?
No, I do not, but I have a lot of respect for my first child. And I pay attention to the first child, because you have to pay attention to the first child, because the first child is likely going to determine the direction the other ones will follow. If you have a good first child, he spearheads. My first child is the pace setter. Others will follow her. And in most cases, once the first child is good, the other children will be good as well. So I pay attention, but I love all of them equally. They are all unique in their own individual ways. I love them all very much.
Okay, so what kind of values do you think a parent must leave for their children? What are those things that no matter what, we have to teach our children, in your view?
For me, give your children good education. Give your children great exposure. And
when you say exposure, what does that mean? Please define.
Exposure, you allow them to see all the opportunities the world has to offer. Don't restrict them to the things they learn in school. Talk about different things. Let them learn about pioneers. Let them learn about great people doing great things. Let them learn about strange courses like nanotechnology, robotics. Teach them all these things. Let them know about it. So by the time they get older, let them know about investment banking. Let them know about football. Let them know about computers. Let them know the highest paid people in the world. Then all these things may actually influence the decisions they're going to make in future.
There are men out there that are complaining that they're having issues with, because when the man and woman are not having a good relationship, it affects the children. And there's some men, for whatever reason, they've somewhat fallen out of love for their wives. They don't find their spouse attractive anymore. They just want to look out there. What kind of things would you say to that kind of a person?
Now, you need to separate your issues with your wife from your children. First of all, your wife is beyond the wife. Now, I'm going to speak as a Christian now. I'm going to speak as a Christian. Your wife represents your present, and your children represent your future. Be careful in the way you deal with your wife. Now, if you've really fallen out of love with your wife, try to pray about it. If prayer does not resolve it, I'm just assuming prayer actually works very well. But if prayer does not resolve it, please do not lose your love for your children, because your children are your future. And when I say your future, what is it?
No, I want you to define that future, because we don't believe that anymore. That yes, your children are important in the future, but parents are putting so much burden on this children, but they're my future. I see they're going to be able to take care of you in the future. So define what you mean by that.
That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean by your children being your future. You can be self-sufficient for the rest of your life. But now, let me explain this to you. There comes a time in a man's life when you become redundant and socially irrelevant. Now, a lot of people, 90% of men, once they finish at retirement age, once they are 65, they go home. It is a new life entirely. The time when you are still active in service, when you are still working in this ministry, you are working in that company, you are fully occupied, right? You are entertained, you are happy, you have your colleagues, you have a life, an active life, a happy life because of your work. There comes a time when work will stop. Now, when work stops, usually when men leave office, they usually become irrelevant, except for a few men like maybe Obasanjo, maybe Razak Okoya or Ishubumi Balogun, because they have so much money, they are still operating at 80. But majority of men from 65, 66, nobody comes to say hello to them. Nobody comes to greet them. Nobody pays attention to them. So at that time, what you have left will be the companionship, the company of your children, the calls of your children, the sound of your grandchildren. These are the things that will make you happy at that time. Now, if you don't neglect them, you didn't take care of them properly, even if you're self-sufficient and they are not self-sufficient, honestly, you'll be the most miserable of men. So that is what I mean by pay attention to them no matter what. They are your future. Okay, that is what I mean by future.
Let me ask you this question. Your wife and your children, who is most important?
My wife.
Why?
Because my wife, under normal circumstances, by the grace of God, by the grace of the El Shaddai God that I serve, at 85, you will still be by my side.
Amen. Amen.
When all the children have gone their own way, it will remain me and my wife. So my wife is more important than my children. Okay. So that is what my prayer, when you are celebrating your 85th birthday, your 90th birthday, I'll be by your side, old and gray by your side, and healthy.
Amen. 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 Okay. Now, this issue of trying to, a lot of parents are under this pressure of traveling abroad or exposing their children to international culture. Every summer we have to travel out. Some parents can't afford it, others can. In your view, a lot of families are under pressure because maybe husbands or wives are insisting that they have to do somehow, my children must travel. What's your own take on traveling and exposing children to different parts of the world? And do you think you should be doing that?
Well, if you can afford it, if you are rich enough, you can go for summer every year. If you are rich enough. Okay. If you cannot afford it, do not go. Now, I will use my own father as an example. My father could afford it, or he never did it. But my sisters were very clever. They knew my father could afford it. So what they did was that they arranged some kind of funny exchange program between some university in London and OAU. So they now brought all the package to my father that is actually an exchange program that we are actually going to learn. Immediately my father heard learning, his ears pointed that, okay, if it is for learning, take all the money. He called the bureau de change, called everybody, bought tickets, did everything, gave it to them, they traveled, and they went to have fun. Are you with me? I was the only person who didn't do it in my house. My sisters, my brother, they were going to London like that to have fun based on fabricated information that they were going to study. So he placed a premium on study, right? I will place a premium on study too, especially if you cannot afford normal vacation. Now, for people who have families, like people like you, or your brothers are there. Now, it may be important for you to see family again. That is a different case. But if you cannot afford it, I implore you, keep your money so that you won't become poor later in life.
How do you feel when I talk about you on television?
I know that's your work. It's your work to talk on TV, and if I get talked about, well, no big deal.
But do you get angry sometimes when I say some things I don't like?
Well, I get angry and we discuss it, and I warn you, don't say that again. Don't say this again. And it ends there. There's no big deal. They talk about people. Because they talk about you doesn't mean you're going to die or something bad is going to happen to you.
Oh, okay.
It makes no difference to me.
Okay, somebody said I should ask you that question. Okay, we have about 15 minutes, and I'd like you to, you always say something that your family is your last line of defense. You say that a lot in this house. And I want you to explain it to our viewers today. What does that mean? You always say that.
Well, can you hear a story?
Yes, go ahead. I'll get.
Okay, because you always cut people short.
Please don't give
them to talk.
I don't cut people short. Please say your story and let us.
Okay. Now, there was a day that a friend of mine called Moody Yahaya. He is a son of a retired military man. He was my senior when we were in the university. Throughout the Babangida regime, his father was a minister throughout. So when he's giving you information about the military, always believe it. So we went for an art exhibition at Silverboard Galleria. So a photography exhibition. So there is this famous photographer called Don Babas. So we were looking at his photographs, all of them. Now I now saw this photograph of a drum, the type of drum that Boys Brigade, the big one that Boys Brigade people carry. The drum was at the center of the road. There was nothing on the road, just the drum. And at the center of the drum was a scorpion on the drum. And I asked him that, Moody, what is the meaning of this drum? I was so fascinated. He now told me that drum, it is the symbol of the band of brigade. I now asked him, what is the band of brigade? He now said the band of brigade is the last line of defense of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That if it happens that there is a coup d'etat or there is mutiny in the army and soldiers are coming for the president, that band of brigade, that they are going to fight to the last, to die to the last before you can reach the president, that is the president's last line of defense. Okay. Are you with me? Right. And that was very profound for me. And I continue, and I left that place that day thinking about the last line of defense. Every human being is a president in his own right. Every father, every soul. Are you with me? Yeah. And I asked myself, when push comes to shove today, who can I run to? I now realize the only people I had were my parents and my siblings. Are you with me? Yeah. So from that point, I knew your family I knew my family was my last line of defense. I have two nuclear families. The family where I'm firstborn and the family where I'm father. So I have two families representing my last line of defense. And now you'll be wondering, is there going to be a coup? Is there going to be battle? Why am I thinking last line of defense? The truth is that we are in a battlefield. The world is a battlefield. Whatever, the fact that you're in TVC, that you're on that show called Your View, there are some people who want to take your job. There are some people who want to be on that seat. There are some people who want to who want Sanwo-Olu off. There are some people who want some senators dead because they want to take their position. So now it's a spiritual warfare. Now who does the fighting for you? So everybody fight for everybody. I fight for you, Morayo. You fight for me. Our children are being raised to be able to fight for us. You get? So that's what I actually mean by the last line of defense. So at every point in time in your life, the people you should make happy the most are the members of your family. Okay. Please your wife. Please your children. Don't let them get angry. Don't let them get disappointed in you. Make sure they are always in a state of mind that when they ask them, say, because of your daddy, dry fast for 21 days, they will quickly go into dry fast because of you. You have to live your life like that. And it is beyond giving money and giving things. It is actually about showing true love.
Let's talk about in-laws, because I've heard stories of, because for whatever reason, people make it look as if, oh, Mariah's staying with her grandmother, her husband's mother, and her husband's mother-in-law came to their house, and people made it look, they made me out to be some kind of extra person. And I'm thinking to myself, well, it wasn't so hard. But as a man and as a father, how do you balance bringing your mother, your grandmother into your matrimonial home with 4 children and plenty people already? How are you managing that entire episode?
Well, first of all, I have to thank God that I married a woman like you. First of all, I need to admit that you have common sense, you have wisdom, you are humble, you are patient, you are caring, you are accommodating, you are fantastic. Some women will not tolerate what you are doing. But now, how I do my own behavioral pattern, my approach to it is that, first of all, let all your in-laws realize that your wife is supreme in your house. Let them realize that your wife is the commander-in-chief of these boats. Okay. Nobody is coming to contest with her. Nobody is coming to argue with her. Morayo, a lot of times my mom will cook in the house. Bear me witness. And deliberately, I will disregard her cooking. I will even tell her that she's insulting me by cooking for me when my wife's food is there. Don't I do it?
Certainly.
Yes, because I made it clear to my people that, look, oh, this house is my house and it belongs to my wife. Because even under the law, Matrimonial Causes Act, it says marriage is the union of a man and a woman to the exclusion of all others, right? All others. So that means my mom is excluded, my family is excluded. So for you to come in, Morayo has to give you a waiver. She has to permit you. Now, besides that, before they started living with us, you already knew them. You knew my parents. You knew all my family before it came to that point where they had to come and live with us. And you knew that they were good people. The truth is, my parents, my siblings, they are actually very loving and very good people. And they showed you a lot of love even before condition made crayfish to bend. And you know how self-sufficient they are. My mother has a house in Ife. She has another one in Ikerekiti. But my mother only feels safe with me. And you know why. Do you get? So it's actually because we work together. You know them. You know they are actually very good people. You know their condition. And you are a compassionate person yourself. Do you get? So I think we are having it easy. We are having it happy. Are we not?
We are. But I want you to also I want you to advise your colleagues, men out there, not that they don't want to do what you're doing. Maybe they have, yes, accommodating wives also, but at the same time, no matter, I am accommodating, I understand, but the little, small resistance, you don't see it, I don't show you. But I have my own time.
Your job is to tell me, then I put everybody in order.
No, I don't.
I can threaten anybody. I can threaten anybody at any time. Say, my dear mommy, please.
I also don't.
You are leaving tomorrow.
As a woman, I don't want to talk about this. So I'm also, so the point is that I want you to also advise other men like you or women also in that situation where how can they, so you told us how you manage yours, but don't focus much on you. What advice would you give them? You said that they should make sure that the wife is the commander in the house, let the mother know that yes. What other things can you do to empower your wife so that everybody around know that, okay, she's the one that this is her house? What else has a man?
You know, when your mother cooks and your wife cooks, and you warn your mother openly that don't serve me your food again.
Openly,
you are not
like
my wife.
Of your wife.
Well, Morayo, you wouldn't take that. You wouldn't. A lot of times I've wanted to spark for my mom and my grandmother, and you are the person who actually controlled me. That Brown, you can't go that route. That you are being too rude. You get? There have been times you were like that. So I've given you supreme power, and they have acknowledged the supremacy of your power in my house.
Right.
Nobody is going to come to contest with you. Right. And that's how it should be. That's the only way it can work.
Right. Okay.
I will never undermine my wife for anything, for any reason. Even for my father, if he was alive, he's the person I respect the most in this life. But the moment there is a confrontation between my father and my wife, I tell my father, say, Daddy, please, it is to the exclusion of all others. You can go.
Please, that would never happen. Please.
I know it can't happen except you want to call him from the grave.
Okay, so we have to wrap up very soon because I wanted things to stick to 1 hour. I didn't want to go past 1 hour. Is there any general advice you like? Because today is Father's Day. What's your general advice for fathers there? Just what I mean, you're still a new father. Your kids are not yet a teenager, so we're all still learning this thing. But what are the significant things you've learned that your children have taught you so far, and what that kind of advice would you like to share to others?
My children have taught me. What my children have taught me. I don't know. They have not taught me anything. Or they are children now. The oldest of them is 8 years old.
What I mean,
What
Brown,
could they teach
understand. What I mean is that as a child, their behavior should teach you, should humble you sometimes. The way they are, the way they behave, the way they talk to you, the way they ask you questions. Certain part of their behavior, there's certain things you learn from them, don't you think?
Okay, I think they're very funny.
Okay.
They come across as funny to me. The silly things they ask. At times I wonder that how come they don't know this? But I just realized that they are just kids. And I think they've taught me more about love, how to show kindness to people, how to love people.
Talking about love, I just remember something. There's somewhere that they said that to show your children love, to teach your children love, you must love your wife. You must show affection. There must be display of affection in your house. Please, do you do that?
Yeah, I don't want to answer that question now.
No, yeah.
Now, affection for me now, I'm not going to like the idea of maybe kissing in front of my children, my wife.
What is
I'm
wrong
not going
with
to
that?
like that.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with
that. I'm an Ikiti man.
Meaning that
I'm not going to do that in front of my kissing in front of my children. I mean,
sure
it's a little pornography.
It's
a little pornography. You're exposing them.
It's not pornography. It's small cheek. Small kiss here. Small kiss here. It's not pornography.
Well, once in a while, look, the greatest show of love is kindness. I have shown you kindness. I have said pleasant things to you in front of them. I have blessed you in front of them. The way I treat them with so much love is the way I treat you. I'm not going to go that route of kissing you. That's pornography. I won't do that.
Pornography. Okay.
I'm not going to do anyway. I'm not going to do that anyway. Whether you think it's pornography or not, I won't do that.
My final question, my last question. Listen, okay. I have one desire this birthday for a nice dinner. Would you take me out to dinner? Just a nice restaurant.
Dinner in this coronavirus situation.
Is that we can do a deal with a restaurant to take me out?
Yes, if we're not going to be arrested, I will take you out. There is no big
plan
deal
it
in
now.
taking
Go and
you
plan
out.
it. Surprise me. Go and plan it. Go and plan it.
Okay, no problem. Okay, I will plan it.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's almost an hour. We have to wrap up now. Let us not overdo it. I want to stick within an hour so that, you know, if I don't know how to say Yoruba, you know, a happy Father's Day to everybody. Thank you for joining us. People are saying
happy Father's Day, everyone.
I don't know if we need a part 2. We'll see, Sha, but thank you very much. Love you guys. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. And I'll post it on YouTube so you guys can watch it later. Take care. Bye for now.
God bless everyone. Bye. Bye.